Okay, welcome everybody. So I want to start out by first explaining why I decided to do this and how this all came to me, because I think it's really relative to what this whole theme that we're going to be talking about today. So this is Sagittarius, the archer with a vision. And one of the things, and I spoke about this just a little bit ago, one of the things as an astrologer, when I first got into astrology, is that I really wanted to help people to take astrology out of what the mainstream culture has put it in. And I know what I think I can believe to be true about at least all of us here is that you wouldn't be here unless you guys knew that like astrology is more than just horoscopes, and it's more than just trying to predict the future, because that's not what it's about. It's really about our own internal pathways that we're walking, and the soul contract that we have in this life, and looking at some of our hidden shadows and patterns that we all carry. So in putting this together, I just had this hit of like, you know I think it would be fun to talk about each of these astrological signs as it relates to the month that we're in, and not as in like, oh, we're in, December, so we're talking about Sagittarius. These are astrological months that I'm talking about here. And so the sign of Sagittarius begins on November 22nd. And I'm going to pause for a second and just ask you guys who are not muted to mute yourself, please. Thank you. So you know, this whole theme that we have just walked into with Sagittarius is one that, and it goes along with like the feeling at the end of the year. If you guys can mute yourselves, or I'll just go ahead and mute. I can just go ahead and mute. Just helps me to not get distracted, because it's kind of hard when I'm hearing little sounds in the background. There we go. I got it. Okay. So getting back on track here. So if you think about what's coming, right, the end of the year, as we're all aware of, it's the tendency that sometimes people want to make intentions for the new year or want to make New Year's resolutions. And so as I speak about the theme or the archetype of Sagittarius, you're going to be able to understand why that energy compels us to do so. Okay. So before I get into it, I first want to do a little bit of sharing with you some upcoming events that I'm going to be having. And the first one is the big one that I do, and that is in Shasta. And so I have Shasta 2024 coming up this next year in September. And if you're interested, you can email me privately or send me a text or give me a call, and I can talk to you more about that. I'm actually going to be hosting 2 Shasta events next year. And just because of the overwhelming interest in it, I want to be able to offer it to more people. So we're going to be going in the beginning of September, and the following week that I'm beginning this first one in September. And I don't have the dates on this off the top of my head. I didn't write them down, so I apologize for that, but I can get you that information. So that's one thing. And the other thing that just came up, and again, this was kind of like this very Sagittarian situation experience that I had, was that I went to, here in Sacramento, they have a new business that opened just this last year, I believe it was, or maybe it's the beginning of this year, and it's called the Radiant Light Center. And this Radiant Light Center here in Sacramento does this energy enhancement system. And this is a system that's pretty amazing, because it is what it does is it's these specially aligned computers that help with the healing and the vibrational resonance of our body. And so what it does, it helps to eliminate the destructive interference that gets in the way of us being able to align with higher vibrational forces that help us in healing. So I'm going to be doing some work with them in January, starting in January, probably once a month. And we're going to be doing the work of the Sophia code, which I think is going to be really powerful, because we're going to be doing some of the codes that are in the book while you're in having this experience with these machines. So that's real. I'm really excited about this. So much more information to come. Okay, so those are a couple of the things that I wanted to share with all of you. So let's jump in. Okay, so I want to invite you to look at the astrology, the signs and the planets as archetypes. Now, I'm just going to be talking about the signs today, or one of the signs today, actually two of them today, but look at them from an archetypal perspective. So let me ask, is anybody here born under the sign of Sagittarius? I'm just kind of curious. Oh, Nikki is. Okay. And Paul is. Okay. Right on. Okay. So for you, let me let these people in here. For you, the sign of Sagittarius is going to have an even more deeper resonance for you. You're going to feel this energy more compelling than the rest of us, but yet it pertains to all of us. It pertains to all of us because we're all human, living, breathing individuals on a path. And as I said, everybody that has shown up here, we're all on a very similar, you know, vibrational, like, how do I want to put this? We're all striving for something very similar because otherwise we wouldn't be on this call. So for those of you, like I said, in Sagittarius, this is going to feel even more compelling for you. Now, one of the things that I want to ask you to look at is, like, as we go through the seasons, there's food that we tend to be drawn to and that our bodies are craving. And so think about the sign of Sagittarius this month, and each month moving forward, that's also very similar. It's like, yeah, this is what your spiritual, your higher self is also in alignment with, is also in alignment with these, celestial bodies of energy that are saying, okay, this is one of the themes that you're being asked and being supported to integrate into your life. Okay. So, I wanted to really start with the sign of Scorpio, but because of the month of November, for me personally, was so busy, I wasn't able to, put something together to do it. So I will be talking about Scorpio just a little bit, because it Scorpio, Sagittarius, and then Capricorn, that's how it goes. The seasonal signs, that's how they go. They're all very much aligned and they work together. And you'll see as I explain it how they do work together. So welcome everyone to Sagittarius season. And Sagittarius season is where the sun shines brighter. Okay, because we also have one of the longest days of the years here coming in December. And it also brings up a feeling of hope. It's a feeling of hope and the quest for meaning and striving toward your vision. Okay, what is, like, think about that, feel into that. What is your vision for your life moving forward? And you don't need to answer it, but just drop into that. And so we make the shift from Scorpio season, which Scorpio is all about looking beneath the surface and into the mysteries of ourself. It's about death and rebirth, transformation, into Sagittarius, which is a fire sign. Scorpio is a water sign. So this past month has actually been a very emotionally feeling month, where now we're in fire. And if you think about fire, fire is about ignition, igniting, inspiration, aspiration. It's action. That's what fire is. Okay. So Scorpio takes us into the underworld. Sagittarius brings us out into the world. One is internal, one is external. And if you can reflect back on this past month, just think about, maybe there may have been some situations that have come up, or that you've had happen to had experience, where maybe you were tested in some way. And Scorpio is the sign of the test. Okay, Scorpio tests us to see if we are fit to serve the greater whole. And so Scorpio invites us to look at our shadow. And so as we go through this process and we're doing this work, we are invited to bring light to the shadow. And that's where the Sagittarius energy comes in. It's like, okay, through the discovery of this shadow that I've been in over the last month or even longer, like here's this Sagittarius energy that says, oh wow, I can see now. I can see it more clearly. How am I going to integrate what it is that I see into taking action and manifesting and bringing it forth? So Sagittarius has a desire to live in accordance to your higher promptings. And what does that mean? It has a desire, this energy, this archetype has a desire to drop in to that deeper dream, that deeper vision that you have within yourself, that that feeling in your heart that you know that you must answer. And as Wayne Dyer puts it, like the music within you. So just to kind of take a really quick moment to reflect on maybe what challenges that you faced this past month that tested you to reach a higher level of yourself. And in looking at that, like what has been like, can you identify some of the layers maybe of fear that hold you back? So these are just some things just to contemplate as I move through this information. And this is interactive, so I will be pausing here after I share some more information with you just to hear some of your reflections or maybe some of your questions that you have. And what you can do, and when I do that is you can hit on your little reactions at the bottom, like raising your hand, okay, if you have a question. Okay, so now let's go into Sagittarius. Let me fix my notes here a little bit and make sure that I can get everything, that I can see everybody still. Okay. Okay, so as the sun shifts from this water sign of Scorpio to the fire sign, you're invited to dream big, to live more fully, to broaden your mind, to leap into new experiences, seek meaning, and follow your inner fire. That's the energy this month of Sagittarius. So, this archetype, it's like there's an opening here, an opening to allow you to feel your passion, to tap into that zest of life, and to leap into your visions for the future, to begin to take action. Like, what action or actions would help move you forward in your life right now, of the vision that you have? Or do you have a vision? Has something come to you? But this is a time, like I said, I'm going to be using this word a lot and be talking about it a little bit more. It is a time to dream and to dare to dream and to revisit your dreams, maybe dreams that you have let go. And I think about Martin Luther King. I have a dream. And the reason why I think about him for Sagittarius energy, he actually was a Capricorn. Okay. And next month, when I talk about Capricorn, you'll see even more the connection. But this, again, remember I said Scorpio, Sagittarius, and Capricorn. Like Capricorn is the mountain that you must climb. Sagittarius is the vision that you know you must follow. And that's why I bring up Martin Luther King, because he had a dream. And what did he do? He took action. He took steps to climb that mountain, that quest that he knew that he must do. Okay. So this time of this feeling, this archetype of Sagittarius invites you to first stand back and observe the big picture of your life. Observe the big picture of your life. What are some of the big questions you've been asking yourself? And from that perspective, that can help you become more clear about your life's journey. And we all know that our life's journey changes, right? That, we head in one direction and then we realize, wow, the vision is pointing in this direction. But this energy right now, like work with what is happening now so that you can focus and aim toward that which you desire. Now, the glyph, it's called a glyph. Now, no, excuse me. The symbol, the glyph is what Sagittarius looks like, which is the arrow. Okay. And that's very symbolic, and I'll explain what that is. And then the symbol is the archer, is of the archer of Sagittarius. And that archer, that arrow that the archer is holding and pointing, and it's not just one arrow, there's several arrows, but that arrow is called the arrow of aspiration. Okay. Now, this shift from the Scorpio archetype to Sagittarius archetype, why this is important, because Scorpio symbolizes the valley. And it's the valleys. If you think of a valley, right? A valley goes, there's a curve to it. And so when we're in the valley, we can't really see above. So the valley is considered to be like the desert, like the underworld, the internal world. But Sagittarius, when we move out of this Scorpio energy, this underworld, this shadow, and we bring light, we've actually now moved to the plane. And the plane is flat. And so the archer is holding that arrow of aspiration. It now has clarity of what that vision is for oneself. Okay. Does that make sense? You guys are tracking that?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, good. Okay. So the shift from Scorpio to Sagittarius, as I said, takes you from the underworld of depth and transformation to the fire of adventure and expansion. How are you going to expand? What are you shifting from the emotions of the water energy that you've been in to the passions of fire? This is where your focus moves from inward to outward. And this is where, as I said before, do I dare to dream? Do you dare to dream? And go after those dreams. So this energy of Sagittarius takes you and guides you to experiences that take you beyond what you already know. So this is like traveling, like this is why Sagittarius is symbolic of traveling in books and going places, because it takes you out of the known world into the unknown world of discovery. It's the energy of exploration. So this is about like getting outside your current narrative of the world.
Safeway on Nutley Street.
Yeah.
Somebody hit 5 million there.
Whoa.
Who's somebody saying something? I can't hear. Nope.
I think someone accidentally got unmuted.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Okay. So Sagittarius is concerned with the future. Okay. And that is why this energy that we have right now in front of us is that feeling of, like I said at the beginning, like that's that feeling of, what kind of resolution am I going to make for the new year? And I'm going to say that is a very mainstream, a very different vibration, and there's nothing wrong. Some people like to do that. There's nothing wrong with making resolutions. I always like to say, like, what are my intentions for the new year? Like, can I like to reevaluate my life and say, okay, how do I want to do this next cycle of my life, this next year of my life differently? And so can you guys see the correlation of why this energy is so present with us, of like doing something differently, starting something new? I'm going to, you go to the gym in January and it's crowded, right? And then slowly over time it fades off because everybody has these hopes and these dreams. And that's the other word for Sagittarius, is hope, because it is the quality of hope that's brought forth. Okay. And it's also about it's also wisdom, like bringing in our own wisdom and marrying that with the vision that we have for the future. Now, this is also about going beyond the stories that you've been telling yourself, going beyond the doubt that you have, because this is about stepping forward stumbling if you have to, but living and feeling and getting up. And that's how we grow, right? Is that we learn through this process to find ourselves. And in this process, we also can realize one day that, hey, you know what? I'm actually living my dream. And I know there's people on this call that can speak to that. It's like, wait a minute. Oh my God, I actually had this envisioned for myself, and like, here it is, and it's like we sometimes we don't even realize that that dream, actually, I'm going to say we don't realize that that dream is also part of our destiny. And that's why it is so important. It's so important for us to dream, because it is part of our destiny. Now, the one thing about Sagittarius that it can do, there's many things, like with every archetypal sign, is that it can be super curious. And it can go, oh, wow, look at that shiny object. Oh, wow, look at that shiny object. And so there's this curiosity about Sagittarius, and that's part of that, that whole adventure energy of exploration and discovery. And so this is where those arrows of aspiration could be pointed in too many directions. And so it is so important for Sagittarian energy, for us, if we're in these in these times of vision, to have a steady aim. Okay, have a steady aim. It doesn't mean that we stick to that aim and we don't do, we never waver from it. That's not it. But it's like, no. And it's like going back to the original aspiration, the original intuitive guidance that we started with, because sometimes we can get lost because of whatever happens come up. Either we get lost because we're distracted and we distract ourselves unconsciously, or it's just something that we just, our personality gets so caught in that we lose our way. So we want to go back to that original place within us. Okay. So I'm going to pause for just a moment if anybody has any comments or questions before I move on to the next piece, because I'm going to get into talking about dreams a little bit more, because I think that's going to be really helpful. So anybody have any comments or input, feedback that's coming up for them? Or if they can you guys feel this now that I'm articulating? Hopefully I'm articulating it well enough for you to understand this energy of Sagittarius and how this time of year speaks to that. Yeah. Any questions or comments? Martha, do you have one? No? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and continue on. And I want to talk about dreams now. And I think this is something that doesn't get spoken. And I'm not talking about the dreams that we're dreaming at night. I'm talking about the dreams that we have for our life. And, I think children are some of the best, when we're children. I'm saying not children, we're children. We all have that inner child within us. And I don't know about you, all of you, but I know for myself, I had all kinds of dreams for myself. And then there reached a point where it seemed like I just kind of forgot about dreams. And about 3 years ago, this was at the beginning of 2020, I got into a group that it was all about dreaming. And what we did is we spoke about what our dreams were. And when I first had to share what my dreams were with everybody, it was actually very difficult, because I had never really thought, like, really, what do I dream? To be really conscious about that. Like, what were some of the things that I dreamt about in my life? And now when I look back, pretty much almost 3 years later, there's things that there were dreams. These weren't, some of them were new that came up during that time, but some of them were dreams that I had years ago that I just kind of like were just left in the recesses of my mind and in my heart. And so this brought them up again to revisit that. And so there have been changes in my life because of that, doing that work of dream work. So your dreams actually can have a life of their own. And they're actually swirling in the depths within you. Oops, somebody's unmuted and I'm going to mute them again. There we go. See if that works. Okay. So going back to, so our dreams have a life of our own, and they're actually swirling in the depths within you. And it's like a sea of potential. And sometimes they arrive even unplanned and surprise us and delight us, and sometimes terrify us. Okay. Your dreams may come with a sense of like, oh, that's impossible. It's way too much. There's no way I can make that happen. But what we want to do, and what I want to invite you to do, is become like adventurous about your dreams, and to take that like take yourself to the edge of maybe what you normally would not do, and jump, and just move forward with dreams that you never thought possible, because like I said, these dreams that are inside of us are also part of our own potential, and they're also part of our destiny, and we hold them in this dreaming, ethereal, untouchable, but that's not really how dreams are meant to stay, right? They're not meant to be outside of us. They're actually within us. So they're also inspired. They're inspired and gifted to you by the great mystery of life. And I know that, like, there's many conversations that I'll have, and people will say, yeah, I never thought I'd be doing this, and here I am doing this thing that I never even thought possible. And dreams are also considered to be divine transmissions that are designed for you to hear and act on. And then when we followed like these little breadcrumbs of signs, that they lead us to our higher destiny. So I really want to invite you to dream. And I'm going to be asking, whoever is willing to answer, like, what do you dream? And to be able to speak that out loud, because when we speak it, we actually bring it into form. It's not just internal floating around. It becomes, we bring the formless into form. Okay. And so I want to invite you again, like, to move and past imaginary, like meaning that they're not real, and consider that they are possible, and they are part of the true design of your life. And they are simply waiting for your attention, for you to give them attention. Okay. To unlock your higher self, to unlock your true purpose, to unlock your spiritual purpose. So I'm going to pause for a moment and ask that question. What are your dreams? Like, be bold enough. I mean, I want to ask you to be bold and just share it unencumbered. Go for it, Lucy.
I've been wanting to have more community in my life, because I was recently divorced unexpectedly, and I don't know, I just want more sense of community, and it's kind of happening.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Anybody else want to share? Nope, no takers. Nobody wants to speak about their dreams. Do you have a dream? Do you dream? There's a question. Yeah, Christina, please.
Well, you know me, my dream is to travel. I love to travel, and I feel like I've done a pretty good job in thinking about where I want to go, what I want to do, and having that opportunity meet my dream, and saying, oh, here's the right time, here's the right venue, the right transportation, whatever. And so I have several things lined up for the next year. So so that's and then I also work part-time, so help fund my fun. And that all, it's all seems to be working out. As you know, my hiccup is my parents because they're 95. And so I don't know how that's going to play out this year, but I'm open to whatever may come, and everything's got to be fluid.
Thank you. Yeah. Anybody else want to share? Do you dream?
I have many dreams. I was trying to escape the other room. My kids are in there screaming. So, yeah, I have many. One big one is working on generational healing and providing a different life for my kids. Also traveling and just experiencing different cultures, embodying like health and wellness and living like a really long, healthy life. And I really want to do retreats down the line of some sort involving sound healing and all the things.
I love it. So Nikki, what would be a step to move you in that direction, like tomorrow, let's say? And it wouldn't have to be a big step, right? But like, what could you do?
So I did actually just start school at the Institute of Integrative Nutrition like 2 weeks ago. And then I got certified in Reiki. I'm thinking about getting my sound healing certification as well. So I'm just like following all the little signs and wherever I feel
Yeah.
pulled.
Yeah. Beautiful. Yes, exactly. Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
Pipki. Pipki has her hand up. Where is she? I don't see her now.
Yeah, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, good. My wish, my dream is to have a full running practice as a spiritual guide. And I'd love to have some more money coming in, more that I can like join you on the mountain. I would love to join that trip very much, because there's also a plane ticket involved. It's not like coming around the corner. And I'd like to have a very good health.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can all of you see how understanding the theme of what this month's astrological sign can help you to like intentionally focus your energy? Okay, let me write down what that is. Like, let me write down my dreams, let me write down my vision, even if you don't have it all figured out. Like, what if you were to do that? Okay. And so this is fire, right? So this is all about inspiration. And it doesn't have to, like, you don't even have to be like super clear on it right now as you go through the months. Like, just start writing, like, okay, this is what I want to create. That's what I want to create. Oh, that sounds good. And look at all the arrows of aspiration that you have going on for yourself right now. Like, don't just limit it to one. And then as you move through the end of the month, and we go into this earth energy next month, which is Capricorn. Like, Capricorn is the mountain, and this is where we begin to climb the mountain. Okay, how am I going to create? How am I going to put some of this into actual form and action? Okay, so working with this monthly, and then from Capricorn we go to Aquarius, but I won't go that far yet because it'll get confusing. We'll just stay right here. Anybody else want to share before I move forward? Martha, are you trying to unmute yourself? Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to wave my hand. I've had some minor health setbacks the last couple of years, and I would like to move past them and feel in full body health in my life and in fitness and regain that. And then second, I want to work and be productive, maybe part-time or full-time, but I don't want to go back into the institutions and institutional structures that my career was experienced in. I would rather do work that is more community focused and potentially more in the nonprofit realm. And I do a lot of volunteering right now with nonprofits, and I really enjoy that work. It's a pleasure, and it feeds my soul. The little voice, that arrow that you're mentioning, that is saying to me really is to write. And not as a book or anything like that, but rather to write and record community. Observations and sharing and what's going on, reporting that brings people together and better informs one another about our sense of place and where we are in this moment in time. So there are a couple of jobs I've been applying for that, and I don't need a lot of income, that are the primary function of them is to write, whether it's communication specialist or there is a journalist position I haven't yet submitted for. So I guess if I ask for support in any way, the aspiration is for me to find my voice and a way and to express that and be a voice for others in the community.
Thank you.
So thanks for making me say it, because I hadn't really said that. It was in my head, but I hadn't really vocalized that.
Awesome. Okay, so thank you for sharing that. So that just prompted something else. It's like, so for everybody, what scares you? What scares you to dream? Like, what do you dare dream? Okay, so, yeah, I want this, I want that, but like, what's that thing inside that feels like kind of big and scary? That maybe so much though that I really don't want to say it out loud, because if I do, what if it doesn't happen? Or who do I think I am? Or whatever it is that goes on in our head, right? So go ahead, Lucy. Yeah.
My scariest thing is asking people for money for my creative work.
Okay.
And I've got a shitload of creative work that I'm focused on getting out in the world before I'm 6 feet under.
Okay, I love it. I love that. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, I see a smile on your face, Paul, too. Yeah. Yes. Dare to dream. And so my hope is that you're getting, when I say dream isn't just this illusionary thing that we're like, oh yeah, it's just a dream. It's like, no, this is actually part of my spiritual design. This is all part of my contract. This is all part of what I'm destined here to do. Anybody else? No other takers on that? Share something that, okay, Christina.
Yeah. So for me is not having my dream realized, that there'll be something thrown into the works, that there'll be something unexpected, that I'll lose my health, or, something that will not allow me to do what I dream about doing.
Okay. Okay. So, okay, what came up when you said that is, and I know this word gets used a lot, but this is just the word that came up, is the surrender. Like to the surrender to our destiny, like, right? Because we all have a time when we're going to exit the planet, right? Okay. And then just to surrender to like, Okay, I'm just going to keep following what that feeling is, like what you talked about, Christina. I'm just going to keep following that travel, and for other people that have said their own thing, and allow this whole thing of life just to unfold. Mhm. Go ahead, Martha. And then Becky, I saw your hand was up after Martha.
Just real quick, I would encourage folks to think about the Shasta retreat. I was privileged to be able to go on your first one. I think it was your first one.
Yeah.
And there was what I'm just connecting with. At the very end of it, you had us stand on a rock and declare it or something. I don't remember what it was exactly, the assignment. And what I did was sing out. And I don't know where that came from, but I remember feeling it throughout my entire body, and my stomach was shivering. And I don't know, it was like I don't know what that was, an energy blast. And I'm connecting that right now with voice. And I think when I really get down to the core, it's about voice. And I don't, so connecting that with what I shared earlier, just now hits me that maybe that's what I have been covering up or avoiding or not willing to give power to, is my own voice. So I just made that connection. But I encourage anyone and everyone who can do the Shasta retreat. Is fabulous.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Martha. Yeah, appreciate that. Becky.
Okay, I'm unmuted now. I am scared to because I don't see myself doing it, and to go on Facebook and stuff like that for getting more people in my practice. I'm afraid for overwhelm. Instagram, Facebook, I didn't grow up with it, and something is very much pushing it away inside.
And so what do you make of that? So is that like what I said, what scares you? Like, so do you feel that that's something that you need to lean into because of how that makes you feel?
Say that again. Do I need to lean into
it, like lean into it to actually do it because it does scare you?
I'm not sure if I understand. And
Okay.
do you mean like
right? Because you're saying, what I heard you say is that going on like social media is something that scares you, right?
Yeah, the overwhelm.
The overwhelm.
And it feels like very complicated.
And so the overwhelm, like, so if we take like, so your overwhelm is showing up in the costume of social media.
Yeah.
Because it's really not about social media. It's just that's how it's showing up, right? I mean, really get underneath it. That's really what's underneath it. That's just the story.
Yeah.
Okay. So the overwhelm is part of the resistance or the distraction.
Yeah.
Right. So making it not about the social media, but yet it's the vehicle in which you face your overwhelm. Make sense?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
But without it, I don't feel overwhelmed.
Okay.
That is the funny thing.
But maybe the overwhelm is part of the medicine, the action that you're needing to take to work through the overwhelm, to lean into the overwhelm.
Okay. I understand what you say. Yeah.
Okay. Nikki.
Let it to me.
Nikki?
Yeah, I just wanted to share this because I feel like it's spot on, and it's something I shared with my friend yesterday. I said, I have a fear of my own power, and I want to help the little girl in me heal who is scared to be powerful. Self-sabotage and procrastination have been have been big patterns in my life. And for the first time, I feel ready to let that go and choose differently. I just feel like it's so spot on with what we're talking about. So I'm like, I have to read this.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So in writing that, Nikki, how do you feel different that you've clarified that for yourself?
I mean, it's like such a release. I feel like I didn't even realize I was doing that. Like, obviously, I knew I was self-sabotaging and procrastinating, but I didn't really put like the pieces together as to why. So I think being able to connect that, it was just like, oh my gosh, like such a weight lifted from my heart.
Mm, yeah. Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to share? Nope. Okay. All right, I'll just keep moving forward. Let's see. Just looking at my notes. So our beliefs have a lot to do whether we allow our dreams and our visions to manifest themselves, right? Because we know our beliefs will get in the way. And okay. And we also carry within ourselves, and this is something that you're going to start probably hearing more about, is remembering your soul codes. Okay. And this is, the thing about like spiritual language, philosophical language, is that we reach a point, a time where the words that we're using no longer have the same power that they once did. And then we're also even discovering new ways of understanding how our systems work. And, for those of you who have gone to Shasta with me and are familiar with like the Sophia code, she talks a lot about key codes in there. And, that's her work. And then there's a lot of other work out there that's like even just remembering your soul codes. And the soul codes, meaning like your divinity, your higher self, your the God within. Those are all part of the codes that are within all of us, part of our divine DNA. And so then what gets in the way is our personality, right? Our humanness gets in the way. And so we have these belief systems that keep us from remembering who we truly are, and that keep us from actualizing the potential that we know and that we feel destined toward, that which we're here to do. And so these belief systems, are the things that say, they say a myriad of things of, what am I doing? Who's going to listen to me? Who's going to pay me for my work, for my artwork, for, whatever it is for you and, for all of us. And so, to enter into like a conversation with greater mystery of our own existence and where we come from, and knowing our place in the grand design, and remembering our original codes, we need to really know that, number one, that we're supported, and that we're always in the right place to engage. We always can be in the right place to engage this activation of our full potential, or of our potential. I don't like to say full potential, because then it makes it feel like it's like this end thing, like a potential. Like potential is a continuum. Okay. And so by stripping away, as we know, the old outworn stories that keep us locked in limitation, keep us in scarcity, that we stay in that small self. And so every sign in astrology has a planet which is called their rulership. And so this adds another layer to the energy of, for example, we're talking about Sagittarius. So what is the partner planet for Sagittarius? It's Jupiter. Well, Jupiter is the biggest planet in the solar system. It has like, I don't know, like 17 moons. I don't even know if that's right, but it has a lot of moons. And Jupiter is the planet of expansion. It is the planet of growth. It is the planet that says, go big, like go big or go home. Okay. And so the combination of these two energies is very powerful. And so this archetypal energy that's present for us right now is all about that. Like, how can you dream big? How can you make your vision big? What is it in your life right now, and how are you playing small? What can get you out of your comfort zone to take more risks, to be more adventurous? Like, this is our birthright. I mean, this is what we've come here to do. And then we let our humanness, we let our personality just get in the way. And it goes back to that, inner child. That inner child, that it's like the humanness of us wants to keep us small in some ways. And yet, so we're fighting that, and we're fighting our divinity that says, you're light, you're bright. So it's about reclaiming. It's about reclaiming ourselves, reclaiming and directing our path forward from a soul level, from a soul inspired place. So I have a question. Let's see. I got a few questions here. How can you overcome your doubts and mental limitations and tap into your potential, your great potential, and rewrite the narrative and live your dream? Now, that's a big question, but like, what are some of the ways in which you can overcome your doubts and rewrite your narrative to live your dream? Like, what are some of the doubts that are getting in the way? What are you questioning about yourself? Am I enough? Do I have enough money? Do I have enough resources? There's so many things that we do to get ourselves into limitation. So what are some of those doubts, and how can you rewrite that narrative? What can you do differently? So can you explain that, Nikki? What do you mean by contrary action for me? Like, what would that be?
Like choosing different habits. So like, since self-sabotage has been and procrastination has been like big ones for me, the first thing that comes to mind is like choosing a different action instead of like, when I catch myself in that moment where I am sabotaging or I am procrastinating, like stop it and choose different action.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So becoming, like, being very mindful, very conscious, very present, really.
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. Anybody else? Like, what are some of your, Leslie?
Okay, there. What happened? Okay, I don't know what happened here. Oh, there we go. It just came to mind. How about taking certain words out of our vocabulary? Instead of, I wish I could do this, like change it to when I'm able to do this, when I'm going to do this. Things
Yeah,
like
I love
that.
it. I love it.
I think we all dream and think of a lot of things in the negative form instead of the positive form. I think I know I'm guilty of that. And I think a lot of people are. Just take any kind of negative or thoughts out of there, words out of our vocabulary.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. No, you do know. That's great. That's great. So is that something, Leslie, for you? I'm just going to put you on the spot here. Is that something that you can begin to implement into your life when you catch yourself saying, like you said, when I do that, it's like, oh, I forgot the example that you gave, but yeah, is that something that you are open to committing?
Yeah, I think, yeah, I am. Yeah. open to it. Cause I tend to do that. Gee, I wish I would have done that when I was younger. Well, there's no reason, you know, I'm not talking about skydiving. I'm
Mhm.
just saying, I wish I could have done that. Well, why can't I do that now?
Yeah.
You know, think just little things.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful. It's perfect. Yeah. Thank you.
Mhm.
Anyone else want to share? If something maybe they can go ahead, Paul.
Yeah, I couldn't find the reaction button. I think for me, it's kind of having a practice that settles me into what's going on within. And my practice currently has been taking nature walks at the river and listening to all the different doubt spheres, voices, and choosing one, because I can overwhelm myself easily by going, oh, I got doubt fear, I got not enough time, not enough. Like, wait, pick one, pick one. This is the one that resonates, and stick with it. The other one I started, I got these cards, these oracle cards when I went to Shasta at the. Oh, I have, three. I got three sets, and this one, this one is just great. Native American cards, and then there's the Earth cards, and I started doing that practice. I picked one up. I said, well, I'll do one card, then the two, the three. Then there's a different way to do them with, I don't know, six. Let's do ones. I picked up balance. Went, oh, and I read the physical part, what it means in your life, the spiritual significance, and then the insights. And each one of those had something deep to resonate with or not resonate with. And for me, it was like, am I out of balance? Am I looking for too much? Am I going in too many directions at the same time? And kind of, ministry, flute lessons, meditations, men's group. I'm just a lot going on. I said, well, wait a minute, what's wrong? I have enough time and resources and talent to do what I need to do and just leave it at that. So I'll ponder that and use like that word balance. So I'll take a card. It's something I'm new at. So I'm learning how to use these cards and pull them up. And I think they are, for me, I guess the word is practice. I just gave two examples. And so far, the word I use is I am complete.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul. That was great. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, it's helpful. I love that concept of the cards because I have cards and I'll go through periods where I'll have some cards that I'll work with consistently, but like those can be really great tools of divination, right? To where we just pull what is the energy for me that I need to focus on today? Like that's a great tool. Yeah, thank you. Anybody else want to share? Nope, we're good. Okay, I'm gonna start to finish us up here. Let me pull my notes up again. Yeah. So, ultimately here, it's about working with what's in front of us, right? We're all on a different path, and yet we're all walking the same path simultaneously, which is so remarkable, I think. And that in this conversation today, what I really wanted to emphasize here was just that arrow of aspiration. What do you aspire in your life? And because that energy of inspiration, aspiration is that deeper calling within us. It's that deeper calling within us that wants to be answered, that needs to be answered. I mean need from a soul perspective, not from the literal perspective. And, if we're feeling like if we're dealing with some really, challenging times. And then what we do know is that there's something about what we're choosing or what we're believing that's out of alignment. And it's not about to put blame on ourselves, because that's not how it should work at all. And I think that that's something that has been that for some of us early in this new age culture, it's like, oh, we're sick, so we need to, like, what are we doing wrong? There's this blame energy, but that's not necessarily how I believe it operates. It's more about like being able to take what it is that's happening for us, and that's all part of the medicine that moves us forward to this next place, this next vision, this next dream, that calling in our life. And sometimes we need that experience. Well, we always need the experience, right? We need to have those things happen sometimes in our lives, because that's how we learn. And so there's no victim energy that needs to come up during these types of situations. And and if it does, then we work through it, and we move forward and like take the medicine that we're being given. So I just really want to encourage all of you to dare to dream. Write them down, say them out loud, tell a friend, tell your partner. What do you dream? And if it makes you uncomfortable, even better. Make yourself uncomfortable. Like, that's how we grow, is to stretch ourselves out of the known and into the unknown. Martha, you have your hand up. Do you want to share something? Or Kintry?
Yeah, I wondered if you could speak to, because a lot of Western culture and capitalist culture, right when we get into Sagittarius, we have Thanksgiving and then we have Christmas. And so it's this, for me, I experience this time of year as very, very stressful. And it's almost like I have to put my inner journey on hold to get through the holidays and the travel and the buying the presents and the sending out the cards and all of that. And I almost feel, and I am a Sagittarius, my birthday is December 3rd. I almost feel like I don't even get to have this season. Does that make sense? Like, I'm
Oh
just
my God,
wondering.
it makes so much sense. I think that would be like a whole conversation for all of us to have. But it just came up when you said that, Kintry, because you said it in the beginning. You said part of the cult. Well, I don't know if this was the language that you use, but I'm going to use this language. It's part of our cultural conditioning, that these are the things that happen. And so all of us, I mean, I'm going to say pretty much almost all of us have bought into that. And so it's almost like this, the energy, it's speeded up, right? It becomes faster, and we're all plugged into that. But what if we were to unplug from that? What if you were to unplug from that? Like, how would you go about doing that? And that's just kind of rhetorical as I'm asking that. But to say, you know what? I'm not going to do that this way anymore. I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to do Thanksgiving differently. I'm going to do Christmas differently. I mean, there could be a lot of pushback for some, but it's actually a conversation that I was having. I'm glad you brought it up with my family this Thanksgiving, because I've always saying I want to do it differently. And some years I do, and some years, like this time, I did it very traditionally, and it was very stressful. It was very stressful. It was fun when it all actually happened, but Teresa worked the whole entire day. So, it's also on us too, on how we do it. So I love that you brought that up. Thank you for bringing that forward. Yeah. Does that help what I just said? Okay. Yeah. But that's a perfect example of how plugged in we are to these vortexes of belief systems and energies. And what if we were to unplug from those? It'd be a game changer for humanity, for even cultures. Like, say, you know what? No, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not playing that game anymore. I'm not going to play the capitalist games that are going on, that are all actually there to control us. And that's I could go off on that, but I'm just going to say that. That's huge. That's a game changer. And that's all part of the patriarch. What you just brought up is all part of the patriarchal system that has us locked into this way of doing things. And that's part of our suffering right now. So how can we, let's dream it differently. Let's make that commitment to dream it differently. Go ahead, Martha. You can say something.
Say a little more about what you mean by that. I know you have an agenda for the rest of the time here. I don't want to invade that, but that's a big statement. So could you say a little bit more
Of which part? Which part? Because
about it's all part of the patriarchy.
Yeah.
That
So,
are
yeah.
I guess the push to celebrate in a certain way or to
Mhm.
be consumer and all. Maybe I do understand it now that I asked the question, but I
Mhm.
don't want to make assumptions about what you mean.
No, you're absolutely right, because it is part of the shadow patriarchal system that the culture has been indoctrinated into. This is all part of the distorted masculine. And so this, like, oh, this is what we have to do during this time of year. We need to spend money that we don't have and buy these gifts. And not saying everybody's doing that, but this is the majority of our culture that does that. And so this is how we're controlled. This is how we give money to big corporations and all that sort of thing. It's just all part of the shadow patriarch that's happening. And so it's like we've taken the sacred out of so much in our world, in our humanity. We've taken the sacred out of what the symbolism of the Christmas, which is Christ consciousness. We've taken it out of that. We've taken it out of Thanksgiving. I mean, I think Thanksgiving's a little better, but you know what I'm saying? We've taken the sacred out of sex. I mean, we've taken the sacred out of so much. That's with all the pornography that's out there. Nothing wrong with some porn, but I'm just saying it has totally taken the sacred out of that. And that's another thing that like I'm seeing with some of my fellow people in the healing artists who have been called to sacred sexuality. I'm seeing a lot of stuff going on with that. There's information workshops, that sort of thing, that's been on the rise. And this is all part of the feminine, divine feminine, the rising of it. So yeah, that would be a whole, like, we could do a whole thing on that. Yeah, that gets me pretty fired up. Okay, so back to the Sag, like I was saying, like, okay, work with the energy. I just want to invite you to work with the energy and work with, like, what are your visions? What are your dreams? I'm repeating myself here, but I just want to bring it all to a close. And my hope, because Sagittarius is about hope, my hope is that that you're able to get some clarity, have some clarity from our conversation today, that it has sparked some things for you, and maybe some decisions that can come from this in your life, recognizing some doubts that are in the way, understanding what you need to lean into. If there's challenges or overwhelm or fears, how can I lean into that? Because that's part of my medicine. That's all part of my growth. Yeah, Lucy, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, Lucy. Yeah, I can't do it on my end.
Okay, there.
Yay.
There. I'm I'm on an iPhone and I don't know how to do it. And I wanted to send you a message of thanks, but because now I don't know how to do that on an iPhone, I just wanted to thank you. It's always timely to hear your wisdom, and it came just in the nick of time. Thank you.
Good. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So I thank you very much, Lucy. I'm gonna do Capricorn next month. I don't have the date on that yet. And I will send out an email, and each time you will have to just register. And I do it so it's like a sticky contact. So it'll remember you, and it'll, put you in there. And I do that because I have to tag everybody to say, oh, they signed up for Capricorn. And so I can keep track of and organize everything, and, give reminders, that sort of thing. So again, thank you all for coming on, and really appreciate this time and your input, your wisdom. And it's just great to bring community together. And that's what I love. So thank you very much. And you guys have a good rest of
Thank you.
the weekend. Yeah. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.